Hello everyone, this is Neronium. Welcome to my newest playthrough of Final Fantasy X-2 plus last mission. So where's the plus last mission? That's like what happened with the Final Fantasy X sort of thing. We'll get into that in a second. But anyway, Final Fantasy X-2 was created and developed by Squaresoft initially, later becoming Square Enix in 2003 for the PlayStation 2 as a direct sequel to the hit game Final Fantasy X, also made by Squaresoft as a launch title for the PlayStation 2. Final Fantasy X-2, as the name implies, and the way that I just said, is a direct story continuation of Final Fantasy X. And as a result, we have a little bit of a time gap going on in between both games. This takes place about a year to a year and a half after the end of Final Fantasy X and the eternal calm end screen that happens in Final Fantasy X as a whole. The original game was released in 2003 and 2004 for the International plus Last Mission version. Before the HD remaster was initially released in, I believe it was 2013, Final Fantasy X-2 International was only exclusive to Japan. I do have a copy of the PS2 version, but obviously since we now have Final Fantasy X and X2 HD remaster on literally everything, we are going to be playing that version. And specifically, we're going to be playing the Xbox version on the Xbox Series X because originally I was going to do the Switch version. And if we're going before that, originally I was going to do the PS3 version. But I'd rather do the Xbox version because it's a lot easier to manage, so to speak. That, and I also wanted to do one that is 60 frames per second. I believe the PS4 and PS5 backwards compatibility also make it 60 frames per second. The original game was 30 frames per second, but this is sort of similar to the Final Fantasy 12 the Zodiac Age sort of way, but also because I find it funny that I'm playing Final Fantasy games on my Xbox. How will we be handling Final Fantasy X-2, or as I used to think it was, Final Fantasy 12, back when I was a little kid who didn't understand how Roman numerals worked. So, for those who have played Final Fantasy X-2, you know that this game can actually be kind of a guide game. What do I mean by that? This game, to 100%, you would need to know certain things before doing it. There is a way you can 100% the game, because the game does keep track of the percentages, but you would have to know which choices to make when and where. The game is actually really short if you just go through the main story. It's like Majora's Mask in that sense. If you go through the main story, you're missing out most of the content of what Spira has become since the end of Final Fantasy X. I will be doing as much as I can in this game. I can't guarantee 100% because of two sections in particular that I will get to later once we get to those chapters. In terms of story chapters, there are only 5 chapters in the game. In terms of side quests, there's a lot of side quests. And I will also be mentioning this. I will be switching accounts once we get past a certain point in the game, because I want to play this mainly on my main account. And when I had tried recording this in the past and unlocked a few things, I had unfortunately already unlocked certain things and thus kind of locked myself out of it. So I will be switching accounts eventually. It'll be really quick, you won't even notice it. But yes, to basically summarize that gargle of words, I'm not necessarily going for 100%, but if I end up managing to get 100%, then that'll be a nice little bonus. I've never actually 100%ed Final Fantasy X-2. The reason for that is I never played the international version. I played the original Final Fantasy X-2, years ago, back in the mid 2000s, because again, I thought it was Final Fantasy 12. Roman numerals and me were never friends. But I did beat the game more than once, and I did enjoy it. It has a very Charlie's Angels feel to it, and that's what they were going for. But anyway, everyone, I'm going to end it off right here. This has been Neronium, and I welcome you all to Final Fantasy X-2 plus Last Mission, as that will be the effective title for this because this is the plus last mission. So, see you all next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to check out more Final Fantasy content, check out the top link for the prequel to this game, Final Fantasy X HD Remastered. And if you want to see a different Final Fantasy game, check out the bottom link for Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age, done on the Xbox One.